broadcast. So we are now live here. Hi, everyone. So we are here directly from Java One in San Francisco. And here it's a very, very cool event. And we are here doing the night hacking activity. And Yolande, you know why we call this the night hacking?
Yes, because we're always indoors and it's always dark.
It's always dark, right? Exactly. So that's how it's night all day long here, right?
Exactly.
Okay, perfect. All right. So I think your microphone is low, or because they can hear you.
Hold on.
Yes.
I have number 2.
Yes. Can you hear? All right.
Yes.
Okay.
Test, yeah.
All right. Can you hear her? Yes. Okay. Good.
Yes.
All right. Thank you.
Yes.
All right. Perfect.
Test, yeah. See?
Okay, so we are here in the night hacking interviews and discussions, and because we're gonna hack things, right? And
Right.
and so I'm here with Yolande Poirier. Good
Yes.
enough?
Yeah, that's
All right.
good enough.
And Yolande is at Java on Twitter.
Yep.
So it's the most important Twitter feed for Java developers, right? And so we're gonna here be talking direct news from at Java. And I'm also here with at SDJug, right? Paul Weber from the San Diego Java Easy Group.
Good to be here, Bruno. Thank you.
Hey, Paul. So, if you're seeing on the screen, you can see at least Paul Weber's Twitter account feed right there. So we have been talking about career development and how developers can improve their careers. And so, Paul, you are a Java Easy Group leader, and you do help developers to improve their careers. Right, so you bring speakers from outside. You incentivize people to be speakers in your own local area. Why do you think it's important for developers to join a user group or to participate in a user group in a way to improve their careers?
Well, for one, you can see that you're not alone.
Right.
So you may be interested in Java, but you may feel like it's not time to do that job change yet. But you can come over to a users group, meet people like-minded, learn something new from the speaker, even just interact with the speakers, and have some interesting pet project that you might want to work on, and then kind of bootstrap your career or a portion of your career into the Java programming world.
That's pretty cool. So Yolande, you have been giving this talk worldwide. I talk specifically about participating in the community and ways for you to participate in the community, ways to get involved. Why do you think getting involved is important for a career of developer?
Well, it's for one thing, it's getting out there. So your name out there and making sure that people know you, right?
Okay.
So one of the things that we talk about is how can you boost your presence on Twitter? How can you start being a speaker, for example, at a conference like Java One?
Mm-hmm.
So you can start by something simple, doing like a bar for a midnight session.
Mm-hmm.
And then before you know it, I think it's also, a lot of it is just kind of a routine, right? Once you start, you see that it's possible, and then before you know it, and then you become a speaker.
Excellent.
And you become a rock star.
Right. And you become a rock star, right? It's like, yes.
So I have
And then you come to the concert, right?
Yes. And then you get free food. And
Right.
Then,
You play for the Knoll Pointers.
Yes, okay. So Paul, you, do you coach people to become speakers in your user group, or it's natural and people just go there and immediately become speakers?
A little bit of both.
Yes.
Yes. As a users group leader, sometimes you're not very choosy on your speakers. Anybody can talk. Sometimes you help them out. Sometimes they're good for themselves.
Uh-huh.
So, but yeah, there's a little interaction for the speakers because San Diego's a small community, and if you get any professional people coming in from out of town like you, Bruno, no coaching necessary.
Oh man, I had a lot of coaching, right? I took a long time to become a good speaker. It's not, it was not natural for me, right? So if you think that because the people are here and are speakers because they were born that way, that's not true, right? It took me a couple of years. I was really, really shy. I still am really shy, but once I'm on stage, I wear the flag and it just kind of protects me.
It's your superhero.
Yeah, just my secret identity, right? You know,
But you bring up a good point. It's practice. I mean,
Yes.
you do it. The more often you do it, you may still get all the stage fright, the stage jitters, but you get up there, you get into your rhythm, you talk about what is interesting to you, you focus on that, and then you just get better at it.
yeah, you know, one thing people tell me is that, I get nervous when I'm going to give a speech, or you know, I'm probably not a good speaker because I get nervous. And I'm going to tell you what, I get nervous every time I'm going to give a speech, right? It's, you know, before I got on the stage, I keep thinking, oh man, you know, people are not going to like what I'm going to say. And I do get nervous. And I think if you don't get nervous, it's because you are in your comfort zone and you're not doing your best, right? I think you got to do more that you're comfortable with, and, you know, just kind of challenge yourself all the time. So, you know, being nervous is actually a good thing.
Yeah.
Keeps the energy going.
Keeps the energy going. All right. So, Yolande, you have contact with thousands of developers around the world, either on Twitter or in person. You travel a lot. Do you have any interesting stories of developers that succeeded, or you know, someone that you know, was just starting and did something cool that you'd like to share with us?
So I think that so to start, I mean, it's I see the one that are the most successful, and I'm not going to give names.
Okay.
But I think they started with good mentors.
Good mentors,
Yes.
right? Nice.
So whether they were women or not,
Uh-huh.
I think they started with like co-speaking, for example,
Okay,
at
just go ahead. I'm just gonna.
okay.
Okay. Sorry.
at co-speaking at Java 1, for example, and those people, I've seen them like really becoming like superheroes over time.
All right. So having a mentor is a good thing,
Yes,
right?
yes,
All right.
absolutely.
So actually, in a minute, I'm going to show you guys the career checklist, things you can do here, Java 1 or whatever you are, to improve your career. And one of the ideas is find a mentor. So now, how do you find a mentor?
That's a good. So I was thinking user groups would
Okay.
be like the perfect place, because you know it's because you need to find also a local mentor, so you can go back and forth more easily. You can do that in person. So I think that would be the perfect place, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you get a wide variety of people coming to the users group. Those that are there to learn from the speaker, and those who come to actually interact with the speaker. So I find the most successful meetings are when there's lots of noise during our half-hour networking event before we actually start the meeting, and that's where people are just engaging in each other. I know sometimes it's good, sometimes it's very quiet, and then I've got to entertain.
Right.
Prompt the people to start engaging in that conversation, just break down the shyness barriers. During the meeting itself, when the speaker is engaging and the topic is interesting to other people, they're there for the topic, then they engage more with that speaker, and then sometimes after the meeting, there are relationships that are made, and sometimes mentorships can come out of that.
Okay, really cool. So before we run completely out of time, let me just kind of jump here really quick. So I want to get you guys some perspective and some ideas on improving your career. So we do have a career checklist. So we call it the Power Checklist. So if you want to download this, it's the URLs on the screen. It's jav.mn/career checklist. And on here, there's lots of easy things that you can do to improve your career. So one of the things that I think it's really important is, if you feel you're stuck in your career, right? If nothing happened for you in the last month or the last couple of months, if you didn't learn anything new, if you didn't meet interesting people, if you're not satisfied with your project, you're probably stuck in your career, right? And this is really bad, because the more time you get stuck, the more you accept the situation as is, the more you think you can't change things, and so you cannot let yourself be in that situation, right? So what do you do when you feel your career is stuck?
So I always pick something that I want to learn. So I stop everything and I find like a pet project.
Okay.
That's what I do.
That's pretty cool. How about you, Paul?
Reboot.
Reboot. So what do you mean reboot?
Well, do what you did when you weren't in that position. Because usually what happens is you've gotten, I won't, it could be lazy. You've gotten accustomed. You're in a routine. You got to break that routine. So, you know, when your computer locks up or it's just slowed down, you reboot it, it comes back to life again.
Right.
So taking on, like participating here at the Java 1 conference, helping out at your local Java users group, picking up a little Raspberry Pi and just poking around, see what it can do. There's a lot of technology that you can get into, and you may say, well, I just don't have the time. I'm watching that TV show that I really like.
Yeah.
Well, you can do both, maybe. I'd give up the TV show.
Right. Yeah, you know, a lot of people talk about time, right? I think that, oh, I don't have time. But, you know, time is something that you have to make, right?
Right, and you have to manage it.
You have to manage,
Because
right? Yeah.
It's like if you are doing like a lot of boring things, you have to start looking at everything that you're doing and the value that it brings for the company that you're working for, and also for you. And whereas, I mean, because sometimes we just get busy, right?
Right.
And so we get into this routine and we just like do the same thing. And is there really a lot of value? Maybe, maybe not.
Okay. All right. So I think you guys have a chance right now to download the career checklist, right? And out of the things that you guys said here about rebooting your career or doing something fun, a lot of those things are on the checklist. So let's take a look at a few things here that you can do to get your career moving. First of all, the career checklist is something that you can download. You can print it. It turns into a little booklet. So you put in your pocket, right? And then you can just do everything that's in there. You can do everything in very fast. Actually, I was talking with a friend of mine from Red Hat, and he really loved the career checklist. And on 2 days of Java 1, he did all the steps of the career checklist, right? So, you know, it's totally possible. You can do this right now. Now, first thing I would like you to think about is you have to focus your career, right? One important thing is we always tend to think about ourselves, right? Oh, what I want to do. But if you want to participate, if you want to get involved, if you really want to make your career important, it has to be important to someone. Think about who this someone is, right? And try to fill out this first phrase that you see on the screen, right? I help, ... right? A person to do or to conquer, ... because everyone wants to do something, everyone wants to conquer something. So he or she has something, right? So, you know, I would say, for example, that my focus on the career is to help Java developers, right, to improve their careers so they can work on better projects, right? So that's my objective, right? So if I'm gonna put you in a spot. So if you would fill out this form here, both of you, who is ready?
Okay, I am.
You're ready? So go ahead, Paul. Think about your career, Paul. That's a phrase right there. Okay.
Okay, so I help Java developers to promote themselves and whatever they do, right? So they get better at what they do and they get visible and also better at what they do.
Okay, excellent. So when you focus your career on helping others, right, you become important to other people. And when you become important to other people, people will want to come to you because you're important for them. So how about you, Paul? Come on, it's right there, ... It's hard. It takes some time to think about it, but I want everyone that's watching us to think about that.
Absolutely, but I mean, as a Java users group leader, I help Java developers. I help Android developers. I help people who come to the meeting to learn about something new. And sometimes a little bit of career counseling goes on there when they ask, oh, what about this? I help Java developers connect with other companies that may have a position because in my leadership role, they know who to come to. So I know about jobs in San Diego and elsewhere. And I know some developers who may be looking, and they may not be advertising just because they don't want to.
Okay.
I help kids learn to program. Java mainly because that's what I like. Robots, a lot of fun. So let's program some robots together. So get them interested in the technology.
Right.
And their parents like that too.
Okay, cool. All right, so you see, Paul had several different people that he helps with. Now, once you have that idea, or who are the people you want to help, doing what, now then you can start thinking about the next step, right? How you can make your web presence, right? Because now you know exactly who are the people you want to help with. You know exactly how you're going to help them with, because you just spell out, right? So now you can start thinking about what your blog is going to do. Your blog should talk about not generic things, but about the things that you just wrote right there, right? You know, your blog should talk about the things that those people need to do exactly what you said they needed, right? So you said you want to give people visibility. So your blog should talk about visibility, right? How they can get visibility. Now, because a lot of developers, they have blogs. They're like generic blogs. They look like more things that they want to do, and there's no audience, right? If you don't target an audience, people are not going to come read your blog, right? So you have to have an idea. And that's the same for your Twitter, for your Facebook, for any social media that you have. Because, you know, why would people follow you on Twitter if you're just talking about random things? Or if you just talk about, you know, the last food that you ate, or you're taking picture or whatever, you know what I mean? You have to have an idea of what you're gonna helping people with, so they will come to your blog, they'll come to your social media, they'll come to your Twitter.
You want to be focused. You want to focus.
You want to be focused, exactly. You're gonna focus on something that's important to someone else, right? So all of these things are in the career checklist, right? And he also talked about some tools that you can think. But there's some other cool things here. There's 4 practices that we talk here in the career checklist on how to improve your career. And the first one is meet a mentor, right? A mentor can make a huge difference in your life. Have you ever had a mentor?
So I looked for a mentor for years.
Okay.
And I never found one. So I decided that I would just see who has which strengths around me, and consider them as mentors without them knowing, without having like a formal relationship as mentors.
But that's exactly a good idea to have a mentor, because a lot of people think that a mentor is someone that we have to talk with.
Right.
But a mentor is someone that you are willing to follow their advice,
Exactly.
right? Even if they don't know you, right? A lot of times you can find a mentor that's, you know, if I'm gonna follow Ed Java's advice on how to improve my career. So if you're gonna follow what Yolande says, she, you know, even if you don't talk to her, but if you read her blog and if you follow the things that she suggests, if you go after technology that she points to you, you're using Yolande as a mentor, right? So that's an excellent idea, Yolande. Thanks a lot.
Sure.
Right? So you should search for your mentor, right? How about you, Paul? Have you mentored lots of people?
Probably.
Yes, right. Okay. So now the other thing is that you gotta meet people.
Yeah.
Right, you gotta go out there, meet developers, talk with developers. A lot of people just think that, I have my friends here on my company, and you don't talk with other developers, you don't see other problems, you don't experience what other people are going through, and you do have to meet people. I think that's one of the reasons why you come to events, right?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
So why do you make events, Paul?
That's what, I guess, it's what we do. I mean, to come to these events is to meet new people. To make an event is so that you can bring those people together.
Right.
And that's just, I guess that's, when I became the president of the San Diego Java Users Group back in 2001, it was because I saw it as me contributing back. I'd gone to the users group before, was a member. Now they needed somebody to take over. I did. And, been doing it ever since. Yeah, my wife calls it's my baby. My baby is like 16 years old now, though.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So now one that's my favorite here is that you got to submit a contribution to an open source project. You know, by not only using open source project, everyone can use an open source project, but if you're a developer, you got to get involved, you got to submit a contribution. And the reason why you got to submit a contribution is that you have to, first of all, you have to learn how to do it, right? And second, you have to see that's not as hard as it looks. So you got to make an effort there to find an open source project you can contribute to, and do a small contribution, even if it's just a fix on the documentation, even if it's just a small fix on a comment on a code or whatever. You gotta go do the whole process of contributing. Contributing to open source projects is probably one of the best career moves that you can ever do in your life. So
That's a question for him.
that's a question for him.
That's a question for me.
That's a question. So
That is something. That is something I need
you're
to
gonna
do.
do you gotta do the next one.
So,
all right.
So yeah, contributing, giving back to the community in some fashion or another. So I have not been on an open source project,
All right.
nor have I contributed to code, but I did make a contribution to Wikipedia as far as reading in an area that I was interested in, finding an error, correcting it, getting it approved by the guy who owned that page.
But let me ask one thing. Have you ever promoted an open source project in your user group? I mean, have you ever brought a speaker from an important open source project? I don't know, maybe from NetBeans or from an Apache project or from Eclipse. Have you ever promoted that in your user group?
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
That's
those
helping
are
an
the-
open source project.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, having the guys come and trying to convince somebody, or maybe somebody in the audience did contribute. So, a part of the users group action. I think the Java community process now, which is opening it up more towards individuals to help out. Now, even the users group can now sign up and start contributing, making it easier to go back into the Java land. And like you said, just contributing to reading the documentation or doing a test case.
Yes.
Yes, I think there is also, like, even for JSRs, you can even write a blog or just like promote the JSR, so it doesn't have to be like very complex or.
No. It's
It can
but
be very easy.
yes, but when you help an open source project, when you promote an open source project, when you get involved in any way, right? It's really important, right? But if as a developer, writing code is our day-to-day life, right? So find a way to help an open source project. It's a great way for you to know people, meet other developers, and get your whole career moving in the right direction. All right. So the other thing that I would like for you to think about is apply a digital marketing technique, right? This might sound weird, but a lot of times when you talk about career, is people say, oh, you gotta go out there, you gotta get involved, you gotta do things, and you gotta be visible,
Yep.
right? That's part of you. You have to market yourself. You have to market yourself, you market your project. So when you talk about digital marketing technique, there's a lot of little things you can do to understand a little bit of marketing that will help you market yourself, market your blog. You're not going to have a blog or even a social media account if you don't find ways to market it. So by learning a little bit of digital marketing, that will go a long way. Now, you want to say something about that?
Yes, because that has been actually my more of a focus that I've taken on like in the last 6 months. So since I'm promoting a lot of content on the internet, so whether it's social media, it's blogs, it's articles, and so and then we migrated also to different websites. So I took on to learn basics about like search engine optimization. There is a lot of information on growth hacking, for example. They have tons of tools. If you're interested in the field, they have an account on Twitter that I'm following. They have tons of tips, and it actually doesn't take that long to just boost your skills and know enough so you don't make mistakes.
Okay.
And even like little things like, for example, so my presentation is a lot about on Twitter, and it's surprising to me to see like how many people don't have a picture. They don't use like the big banner that you have on top of the on Twitter. They don't use their profile description like properly. Like just tell me what you do. I don't really care if you have a dog or not. Yes, it's social media. You need to be like friendly and so forth, but like give useful information, because when I looking for content, I want to see who you are so I can retweet you, or I can see if you have a book, or just know something about you. I don't have time to read your entire bio, but that I can, so I need a quick, fast way of understanding who the persons are in the community. So
Yes.
So there is plenty of things.
There's plenty of little things you can do that goes a long way, right? But all starts and comes out of the focus that you're going to give to your career, right? So, you know, we've completely run out of time here, but I'd like to offer you the power checklist for you to download, improve your career. This is a checklist you can do, you know, next event you go, you can do right now, wherever you are. But if you're here at Java 1, that's something you can do during the event, and I'm sure you're going to find all these steps here at the career checklist. Okay? So I'd like to thank you, Yolande. Thank you, Paul, for joining here. And this is the Night Hacking directly from Java 1, San Francisco. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, press button.